Good day, my name is Cupido, and today I'll be demonstrating the materials that I use for my micro teaching lesson plan. Now, first thing that we have here is the smartboard and a PowerPoint presentation. One of the reasons we use PowerPoint now is for ITC, that is the incorporation of technology in classes. So it is a tool that we find very effective, especially when teaching a larger class. Now, we have some teaching aids that were made, and these are some materials that will assist in class. So you can do is come take a look at what we have here. The first one would be our journal, or the teacher's journal, where we have a lot of artwork and a lot of competency-based skills that we do. We teach skills that the students can practice with the others. The next one we created was a simple color wheel. The students would use this to practice whatever they learned in class. It is a simple color wheel, just the primary and secondary colors. The other we have here is some recycled material. We use paper to create some cards of the primary and secondary colors, so the students would have a visual aid as to which are the primary colors, which are the secondary colors, and it's going to help them when they're working in their own color wheel or whenever they're painting in general. So what we're going to do now is look at the PowerPoint that I have here, and we're just going to talk a bit about it before we close up. Now, what we have here is our smartboard. We have our PowerPoint presentation. The topic that we chose is color theory. Now, what is color theory? Color theory is a structure for effectively using and understanding colors. There are three basic categories of color theory that are logical and useful: the color wheel, color harmony, and the context of colors and how they are used. Now, what this is basically saying is that there are many varieties of coloring. Students can look on the internet. There's going to be so many different color wheels that they can get a bit confused. So what our PowerPoint is going to do is introduce them to the simple color wheel to keep things at base for now. As they progress in school or as they progress as artists, they can experiment and use their own color wheel. Now, what is the color wheel? The color wheel, or the color circle, is based on red, yellow, and blue. It is traditional in the field of art. So Isaac Newton developed the first circular diamond of colors in 1666. There are many variations with debates and different opinions about the validity of one format over the other. However, any color circle or color wheel, which represents a logical arranged sequence of pure hues, has merit. Now, what does all of that mean? It simply means that as long as the color wheel that you're studying has a logical arrangement, meaning we know which are the primary, we know which are the secondary, and we know which are the tertiary colors, it's okay. So it doesn't matter the variety or the different ones that are out there, as long as all of them has a logical arrangement, it's fine. Any artist or any student can use it. So we have the primary colors, which are red, yellow, blue, secondary colors, which are green, orange, violet, and then we have some tertiary colors over there. And the first one we look at for the students would be the primary colors. Again, primary colors in traditional color theory used in paints and pigments. Primary colors are the three pigment colors that cannot be mixed or formed by any combination of other colors. All other colors are derived from these three. What does this mean? It means that red, yellow, and blue are base colors. You can't make these colors. These colors are natural colors that exist, and then every other color that we know about, or every other color that we use, come from these three colors. In just a bit of history, in ancient times, yellow would usually come from ochre, which was a mineral, or different plant-based materials. Blue was also a mineral, which comes from lapis. It's another mineral that people would crush to get it. Another variation was seashells from snails, which was really, really expensive. So that's why you find in ancient times that a lot of Christian-related art is a lot of blue in it. Red came from plants and bugs, actually. So all base colors come from somewhere in nature, and then all of the colors that we have, besides the synthetic ones now, come from these three base colors. And that is not excluding white and black, which are neutrals. And as we go on, we have the secondary colors, which are green, violet, and orange. the tertiary colors. Now, we get the tertiary colors by mixing. Like I said, all of the colors are derived from the primary colors. So primary colors are red, yellow, blue. Our secondary colors are orange, violet, and green. How do we get the secondary colors? We get the secondary colors by mixing the primary colors. So red and yellow gives us orange, red and blue gives us violet, blue, and yellow gives us green. Now if we mix the primary colors to get the secondary colors, it's logical to think that if we mix the primary and secondary colors, we're going to get the tertiary colors. So if we mix yellow and orange, we're going to get yellow orange. If we mix red and orange, we're going to get red orange, red, and so forth. Red violet, blue violet, yellow green, yellow green, blue green, blue green. So all other colors from this arrangement, you can see all other colors that it goes on and on and on. You can keep mixing variations by adding black and white, which are the neutrals. You create even more variations of those colors, but the base of it is that all of the colors come from our primary colors. How do we get the tertiary colors? As I just explained, just to check in to make sure you're paying attention, the students are paying attention rather, you have the prompt question asking them, how do we get the tertiary colors? And the answer would be by mixing the primary and secondary colors. And again, we have color harmony. Now, color harmony is part of color theory as well. Color theory has three components, that is the color wheel, color harmony, and color context. Now, harmony can be defined as a pleasing arrangement of parts, whether it be music, poetry, or color. So harmony isn't just localized to art, it's localized to anything that you're expressing yourself in. In visual experiences, however, harmony is something that is pleasing to the eye, it engages the viewer, it creates an inner sense of order, balance, and order and balance in the visual experience. Now, there are two basic formulas used to create harmony. They are analogous colors and complementary colors. Now, this is the part where we go more in depth on the color wheel. Now, a simple color wheel is red, yellow, blue. Secondary color wheel is red, yellow, blue, and the secondary colors. And the tertiary color wheel, which we use for analogous and complementary colors, includes all the other offshoots of colors that we make. Now, analogous colors are any three colors that sit side by side on a 12-part color wheel, such as yellow, green, we did just now, the tertiary colors, yellow, green, yellow, orange. Usually one of the three colors that are predominant. The complementary colors are any two colors which are directly opposite each other, such as red and green, and red, purple, and yellow, green. Now we have an example right up here. Color groups. So analogous colors are any three colors that sit right next to each other. So we have a color wheel here. Analogous colors, as long as they're right next to each other, orange, yellow, darker yellow, and yellow. So as long as they sit next to each other in the color wheel, we call them analogous colors. Now, complementary colors sit opposite each other on the color wheel. So green and red, blue and orange, yellow, orange, and not yellow, orange, yellow and violet, and red, green, blue, orange. So as long as they're opposite each other on the color wheel, they're called complementary colors. And the final component of color theory would be color context. Now, color behaves in relation with other colors and shapes the complex area of color theory. Compare and contrast effects of different color backgrounds of the same red square. Now I have a quick example of what I mean when I say color context. So we have the color red. You can see the different way that red is changed based on the color behind it. So it works in tandem, or it creates contrast, or it fights, or it works well with the color. Now, the most prominent one here is red and black. The most lifeless one is red and orange. So not all colors work together, and you must understand color context whenever you're doing a painting or whenever you are. We can go in depth in that later, but that brings us to the end of what color theory is, or the end of the introduction to color theory. So along with the smart board and some of the work that the students would be doing, making their own color wheels, using the cards as a prompt for them to remember which colors work well together. For example, I can ask the students, or I can give them their cards and I say, okay, what do you get when you mix red? What do you get when you mix red and orange? They should be able to have a card to say that they get orange. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the class, the end of my introduction. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.